Welcome to Press Box. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan. What you just watched was a career ending injury from Doug Smith. Now, Doug was over playing in Austria and broke his neck. Wow, like what a career ending injury. If you saw the video, it's very emotional, very inspiring. And on the show today, we have back by popular demand, we have on the show today Mr. Doug Smith. Doug, welcome to the show. Wow, Doug, that video was just really, really heart wrenching, very personal. I really appreciate you sharing that video with us. Thank you so much.
The impact force. I did the calculation because I like math. Was the deceleration force was the same as you accelerating from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in a third of a second. It would pull all the organs out of your body, and then that was the impact force that I survived. It's like there's very few people in the world that have survived that type of impact.
Well, you went into the boards in such an awkward angle. Like it almost looks like, like when people think, well, you slide into the boards and you break your neck or you get injured, you think you're sliding in like from the blue line and you can't stop and bam.
Hmm.
But the way you did it was it almost looked like, is he okay? Like, is he going to get up? Like, you know what I mean? It kind of looked,
Well,
wow.
what happened was I looked down at my feet because the puck was coming around the boards while I was
Yeah.
going full speed. The puck was arriving while I was hitting the defenseman. And then all of a sudden he fell in front of me and my hips, the worst nightmare, my hips got caught and I didn't get my arms up in time. So it was just like a cantilever, boom, 25 miles an hour head first, top of the head. And the compression of my spine caused an explosion of C5 and C6, the fifth and sixth cervical vertebrae in your neck. And it tore all the ligaments in the back of my neck as well. So, but I landed on the ice with my head on my hands, and that's what saved my life. I likely would have died, that night.
Wow. Like, I really appreciate you sharing this story because it must be obviously very traumatizing to, like,
It's what I saw, Jay. It's what I saw. I didn't see, like, when I was lying on the ice and I knew I was in big trouble. I didn't see all the big goals that I had scored. I didn't see all the accolades and all the great things people said about me. All I saw was all the times in my life where I didn't show up for other people.
wow. Do you remember, like, obviously, I assume you probably blacked out or what, do
No,
you
fully conscious, fully
fully
conscious.
conscious?
When I hit the boards, it was like a lightning strike through my whole body. It was like somebody struck me with lightning. That's why I knew I had broken my back, and so I fell to the ice with my head on my hands, and I had this time and space where I knew my career was over. There was like I knew because I heard my neck break. When your neck breaks, it's like you hear it in your skull, right? So
Wow.
it's like chicken bones breaking. That's what it sounds like being
Do
crushed.
you remember the first noise or person or voice after the incident? Do you
I
remember
no,
recall anything?
I was just trying to control my breathing because of the pain, and just saying to get me a doctor.
Do you think
Right?
the guys on the ice?
I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. You learn how to speak German really quickly, right? When
Wow.
when you're in a different country and you break your neck.
Yeah.
I had to learn like all the speaking in the hospital, right? Because I was in a small town in Austria and they didn't know what they were dealing with. They had never put a halo fixation on. What a halo fixation is this is what they put me in over in Austria,
Wow.
and it has 4 self-tapping screws. So they screw these holes into your skull. They wanted to put me to sleep with a broken neck to put this on me. And I decided to stay awake because I would take them screwing bolts into my skull rather than not being in control. And because I knew my neck was broken. So I didn't want to be put to sleep. So I was having operations done with local anesthetic. So they just put a little anesthetic and then drilled the bolts 3 millimeters into my skull. So it was literally a Frankenstein experience.
Wow. On the show today, we have Doug Smith from Doug Smith Performance. He's sharing his career-ending injury with us, and we're going to get a little bit of what he's doing because you turn it into such a positivity, Doug. And just to let you know, our Facebook page is blowing up. Our Facebook page is blowing up. So
You
please
know,
come
you know
up.
what I learned? You know what I learned from the Halo, Jay? You know what the
What's that?
positive thing about the Halo is? Let me share that with you.
Sure.
I always put my head down when I was with people. I didn't know why I was in the room. When you know, like even as an athlete, I didn't know why I was there. I had to put the halo on. I couldn't look down. And so for 3.5 months, I was like Frankenstein to people. So everybody would look at me, but I couldn't look away. The only choice I had was to look at them or close my eyes. And I had to see where I was going. And so from that point forward, I've been able to look at people in the eye, and I see so many former athletes and so like just former athletes specifically that never really grasp that. And I joke with them and say, all you got to do is put a halo on for 3 months, and you'll always look people in the face.
That is great insight. Going back to the actual ice itself, did the players or the refs or your coach, do they know what, like, when did they realize what was going on? Did they like right away knew something was?
Oh, it took 6 hours. I laid in that position and was X-rayed because they thought I had broken L spine, and then they thought T spine, and they had no idea I had broken C spine. You know, like so they were looking at the whiplash from the hitting the boards, because when you pile drive the boards, you get a whiplash in your lower back. So that's where all the pain was, but that wasn't where the break was.
Wow, like it's so serendipity how, like, you've gone through your life. You're a former NHL or professional hockey player, drafted number two. You have a wonderful business mind sense, and now you're doing positivity and great things for the community. It's just like we're so happy we met you, Doug. Like we're so
Well, I'm
happy,
so happy to meet get the message out. Like I have the fortunate opportunity now to share my work with, say a struggling CEO who's having trouble with, not just family, but boardroom stuff. All that stuff boils down into a very simple formula.
talking
We're in
about that.
we're in a world now where we have to work with the ether that is in between people if we're managing people, right?
So let's
It's not just about the people. Yeah, make the people comfortable, but learn how to work with the space in between people.
hold that thought. Let's take a quick break because when I come back, I want to give you two scenarios. And one would be from an athlete who, let's say, had a career ending injury like yourself, and then maybe either a CEO, a business person, or a veteran who is actually going through a tough time right now. So stay tuned. You're watching Press Box. We have on Doug Smith from Doug Smith Performance. We'll be right back.